Welcome to the Buckland Museum of Witchcraft and Magic. My name is Stephen Airmill. I am the director of the Buckland Museum, and we are currently bursting through the internet from a spiral tower somewhere in Cleveland, Ohio. In just a moment, Tony and I will be speaking with the living legend of current witchcraft, Laura Tepe-Zakroff, whose exhibit, Anatomy of a Witch, is currently in our rotating exhibit space. But first, we got some business. Okay, so this coming Saturday, super important workshop. Estrella Taylor, Jason Mankey, authors of Modern Witchcraft with the Greek Gods, which is a new book. They're going to be here on Saturday. You can get your tickets at bucklandmuseum.org/shop. Would love for you guys to be here and check it out. This is going to be our first hybrid one. Where not only can you watch it here live and direct, but you could also watch it from the comfort of your home. The book's really cool. I've been flipping through it the last few days here at the museum when we've been between tours and really having a good time with it. Really looking forward to having them here. So, hi, Tony.
Hi, Stephen.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
So do you want to tell our audience here how perhaps there might be a situation that occurs during our conversation with Laura Tepe-Zakroff?
So we've had some visitors at night, usually when we're sleeping, that may appear. So I don't know how they're getting in, but there's some bats that have been getting into the house in the
So
attic.
there's some bats in your belfry. All right, excellent.
There are, and so far it's been a few. And I'm in the attic now. The attic's finished, but they're getting in somewhere. I think I had an idea, but if you see me duck and scream, there's a bats flying somewhere. So hopefully that won't happen.
Excellent.
We'll see.
All right, so I was going to share something with you, Tony.
Okay.
About going on here in Ohio, newspaper article that I just saw about Ohio rep asked pastor to banish witchcraft at the state house here in Ohio. But to be honest, I find this just so absolutely depressing and terrible that I think maybe we should talk about this at some other point. What do you think? Can you believe that?
Yeah, I agree. There's
All
so
right.
much going on right now. So
There really is. So, Laura Tepe-Zakroff, welcome back to the Buckland Museum of Witchcraft and Magic in Cleveland, Ohio.
Hello. It's so good to see our faces again.
How have you been?
It's December. I'm not sure. I feel like I just saw you last week.
Yeah, well, it feels like that here too. But it was just a couple months ago here. We've been showing your exhibit, here at the Buckland Museum, the Anatomy of a Witch. It is absolutely stunning and beautiful. It's really a joy to share this with people. And I gotta say that I am so thrilled that you sent us prints recently for the gift shop, because your Oracle deck, we've only have a few more of these on hand, and then they're dry until the end of the year. So congratulations on your success.
Thank you. Hopefully they'll come back very soon. This is the third printing, which is amazing considering it's only been out since August. So, wow.
Congratulations.
I said Nova's. It's true. I mean, we only saw Nova last week too, right? It was all last week.
Yeah. So we have some of your friends chiming in. Somebody named Katie says, beautiful. Nova, it was last week. Peggy Lou, hi from Florida. Hi, Peggy Lou. Kimberly with a bunch of magic energy. We have Kelvin. He's a Cleveland person, and he says, good evening. He's really into kind of the vampire scene. And then our Cara Mia says, hello. So it looks like we got a full house. So welcome back. I got to say that it's been really an honor to be able to exhibit your work here at the museum. Everybody loves it. Everybody's always so impressed by it. Where did you get this deck? Where did this come from? I know it came from this book right here. The book
Yes.
is very wonderful as well, but like, where did this all just kind of percolate from?
Well, the concept of Anatomy of a Witch is to connect with the body. I see that the body is our most powerful and immediate magical tool. Like we tend to think about all the stuff, and we love the stuff, right? Like we love our crystals and our herbs and our candles and our oils and all the accoutrements. And you know, they make us feel extra witchy and such. But the truth is, the magic starts with us, and we are on this journey of our spirits being embodied. And when we connect with that, everything flows so much easier. Everything is more potent in so many different ways. But it's at the same time, while it sounds easy, we have very difficult relationships with our bodies. Thousands of years of different philosophical teachings and dogma, as well as what the media tells us about our bodies. All cross gender lines and sexualities and size, all of these different things. And so it can be very hard to connect. And so the book started off as a tool to look at the systems of the body itself, but also connect them metaphorically and metaphysically with our path and our practice. And as I was writing the book, I thought, this can be a perfect oracle, something that helps us like, okay, I know I need to do something, a ritual, a spell, what's going on with my body, with my practice or my path. And I designed this to be that tool that you can turn to develop spells and rituals, to figure out what's going on, that you need to shake it up a bit, like how to get past that, to get past those obstacles, and to really develop a plan of action.
Well, I think that's actually perfect. Now, have you ever seen this book right here before?
I did, because unlike a lot of people, I always Google the title that I'm looking at before I suggest it into the world, because you got to think about, you know, there are many books. How many books on green witchcraft are there? They're called green witchcraft.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, well, let me see. And I saw that, and I'm like, okay, what is this book about? It is not anywhere near the concept of what I'm exploring.
No, not at all.
Nope. So, and it's not in print.
Well, it's just really funny because when I say, I seriously, on the day that you announced that book, I had just bought a book collection, and it was right there, and I was just like, wait, what's going on here? So I think that's really cool. There's always, oh wow, Ray's in this book. Ray and Rosemary. So how fun is that? So excellent. So you do the book, and then you do the deck. And I'm just going to pull some random cards from this deck here. We're going to see how this goes. Maybe you could give me a reading here.
Sure, we could do it at the infamous 4-card spread.
All right, you want to do a 4-card spread?
Yes.
All right. So do you have a special mantra that I should say as I shuffle these cards?
You know, we're heading into the winter solstice. We have Yuletide, right? The holiday season, a lot of stress. The dark half of the year.
Right now. Everybody in Cleveland watching this right now, they totally know what kind of stress we're going through here right now. It's this is not going to be a easy winter for a lot of the people in my friends group. I have this feeling, a lot of intensity going on right now. And
so we can look at this reading as ways to how do we deal with that, especially on a magical level, on a spiritual level. What is suggested in there? So what we're going to do is we'll pull for everybody else who's watching as Stephen is shuffling. We have 4 cards. 3 of them are going to be kind of our person, place, thing sort of thing. There's no particular importance. They're all just those first 3 cards. And then our 4th card will be kind of our overall focus.
All right. So looking at this deck quite a bit, I like the fact that it's a really beautiful, happy deck. So we're not going to really, I'm not going to be pulling 4 versions of the tower here.
So you think?
So at least I hope, right? Okay. So we're pulling it. Okay, gonna do the split, and we're gonna do card 1, which is actually one of my 2 favorites.
Hands.
Yep. So hands.
All right. So
All
first
right.
card is hands. This is for folks. This is part of the magical artifacts, things that relate back to the body, but have been used in magic for thousands of years, essentially hundreds of thousands of years, depending on when you're looking at them. So hands is the first card.
Which is perfect because of, I mean, where we are right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here we are surrounded by artifacts of the arcane. Oh my gosh. Another favorite.
Oh, I feel like the museum is really talking right now.
I feel like it is. I feel like it's always talking to me. So that's, you know, some days I feel like it's going to be 100 years from now and somebody's going to come in. I'll be like, are you ready for your tour of the museum?
So our second card, folks, is the Poppet, which is also a magical artifact card, I believe. And, dream. All right, so body being. This is states of the body, things that we all do on some level, right? That's just part of the natural human process. So we have dream. All right, so should we pull the one last card and then we'll do the reading?
All right. So, no further ado. This is something I've been thinking about that I need quite a bit more of right now.
Play. Little Baba Yaga hat going on in there. And play is also part of the body being. All right, so with our first 3 cards, right, we have hands, Poppet, and dream. So hands can be a symbol of protection, right? A symbol of identity, as well as being really literal, like to physically get your hands dirty, like to get active on it, to put your hands on the thing. And with the Poppet in there, right, with doing the Poppet, we have the idea of creating a connection, right, to the body, to the practice, that we're creating a votive, if you will. So if we're going to pull that in as well with the dream card, right, it's like, what do we want to manifest? So if I was looking at a spell or ritual for right now, creating something that is a small doll or a little Yule goat, but something that's really based in dream, to what do we want to manifest for the year to come? What is it that we want to envision? But I would think not only just that, but I'm seeing like elements of protection. So if I'm going to stuff this with particular herbs, I might choose lavender for the rest and the sleep, but I might also put rue or vervain in there for the protective elements. So putting those in. And then overall, though, is play, right? Play is to relax, to celebrate, to enjoy. And considering the time of year, I actually probably lean towards the Yule goat. The idea of making, instead of like making a person effigy, making a little Yule goat, because those straw Yule goats are meant to be burned, right? They're supposed to go up. And so having this as sort of thing where you're putting that energy into it for the next few weeks, up into the winter solstice, and celebrating it. And once you get to the end of the year, to release those intentions through fire, which is not normally how I tend to release intention. If I'm setting something on fire, it tends to be a different sort of intention. But considering the history of the Yule goat and what that's meant to like release the problems of the past and bring into the future, I think that's a great connection. So whether you're making a little straw goat or you want to take a little felt outline or a little paper goat, stuff it with some herbs, decorate it with what your kind of hopes and focuses and dreams are, and then at the end of the year, light that puppy on fire.
So all the Yule goats that I have at my house currently are all very vintage, and they came from my mom as she's a Swedish individual. So I probably would have to make my own if I wanted to burn it. But where could I burn it? There's like, maybe in the back here, back where we used to have the hearth before my landlord's brick wall fell on it.
Well, you could do in a cauldron, and we're not making a giant Yule goat here, right? Making like, I'm thinking almost like one of the ornament sizes, something maybe about hand size. I mean, if you and Car are going to be like, let's make a really big goat.
Yeah.
Please videotape this whole thing so we can all enjoy the process.
So, Cara, I'm sure you're watching right now on Thursday. Let's make a Yule goat. So, between tours, let's. I also realized that what we really need to do is make our Mari loot, and tomorrow I'll get some ribbon. We have this beautiful horse skull, right? We need to. It used to be in the front window for the holidays a couple years ago, and then children would walk by and say things like, "This place is really scary, Mom," and I was like, "Oh, I don't want that." So maybe a little bit. So speaking of a little scary, we if you want to adorn yourself with awesomeness, currently on our website we have our Grusselun Krampus t-shirts as designed by Johnny Decker Miller. Absolutely gorgeous design, and I'm starting to run out of many of the sizes for it. So if you want one of these t-shirts, pretty much now is the time, because I think I got one small left. I think I might have one large and maybe like 2 extra large. So now is the time, people. All right. So how was your year, Laura? Good.
I was doing my newsletter today. Which, sending out newsletters, it's everyone thinks it's simple if you don't do a newsletter, but like if you're doing the whole thing with the graphics and the links, it takes me 2 to 3 hours to do these things.
I know. Yeah.
And I'm like, what did I do this past year? Have I done anything? Which I know sounds ridiculous to most people. Are like, are you freaking kidding me? But it has been kind of a pretty good year with this Oracle's come out, Visual Alchemy just came out, the Gorgon's Guide just came out. I don't even think I put that in the newsletter.
You did it. I read it. You did it.
And then like it's sitting I was like, what have I done? So, and I also forgot to put that the shop is closing down on Friday for the winter break. I'm like, winter break, and then didn't put it in there because I was very overwhelmed. But Visual Alchemy, and this is, I feel like this is unfortunately sort of the neglected stepchild. Oh my God.
It is a bit, I gotta say, it's the follow-up to this incredibly magical book right here, Sigil Witchery, which has been pretty much the go-to book when anybody comes in, and boy, do a lot of people ask me about sigil magic. And I'm like, we have something very modern. And look, now we have Visual Alchemy, which these two look so beautiful together. Wonderful designer at Llewellyn who put these together. So, yeah. Tell me about this book.
So Visual Alchemy, it's the sibling, it's the follow-up to Sigil Witchery, where we're delving into the intersection between art and magic. Now, of course, I just talked about like how important the body is to the practice, but also for me, art is my primary form of magic. And I feel that art should be accessible to everyone, and understand that it's not just for the elite. It's not just for people who are artistes, but art is part of our everyday lives. It's helped us as a species to evolve, really delving into our imagination, our creativity, our ability to solve problems, to be able to network and create and tell stories with each other. This is that moment in time when once we are starting to embrace art, we have changed who we are as humanity. And when it comes to magic and art, we often have a hard time just even believing in magic as it is, right? Lots of folks be like, yes, I do these spells and the rituals, but sometimes they actually work. And like, of course, they do. But we still have this sort of crazy social culture, over cultural thing of like, magic is silly. It's just those CGI effects and things like that. Like, no, it's just part of living and breathing and how we interact with the world. And the same is true for art. Like, how many people take Sigil Witchery to like, oh, I can't even draw a straight line with a ruler. I'm like, just stop feeding me that line. Because if you can make your signature, with your figure, even a little squiggle on the tablet, you can make a sigil. And you can make art. It might not be something that's going to hang in a gallery or museum, but that shit's overrated in some ways too, right? When we're thinking about, one of our local museums here, they're like, look at our Matisses and our Monets and this, and like, these are really, I mean, these artists would be embarrassed. Like, these are their practice paintings. We just get so into the name of things rather than, is this good art? What is good art? Art is really truly the expression of our souls and how we communicate to the universe as well as each other. And everyone is capable of that. So this book is all about, I'll hold it up. Prime moment time to hold the book. This is really about breaking those barriers and releasing fear and being able to tap into that power so that you can create. And even though I haven't even done a video with this book yet, but I keep getting these messages where people are telling me like, this is life-changing, that they're already creating and making things. And like, that's the thing. I'm so excited. So I'm gonna ramble about this book. I'm just gonna eat it.
Well, congratulations. It's super cool. I've only dug into it a little bit because I've been kind of busy with some of your other things and talking about you every day on every tour that we give about how excited I am to be able to exhibit your work here at the Buckland Museum. The stuff is so gorgeous. Thank you so much for because what I do, this came up for they started popping off on your Instagram maybe like a year ago. Was that it? And I think I sent you a message that was something along the lines of like, you know what you really need to do is exhibit those at the museum, right? And you were like, yeah, that sounds awesome. So
we had talked, was it the last time I was on tour came through, the first time was in 2019, right? And it like, we like to see some art. I'm like, I don't have any collective bodies that, are worthwhile. So when I got to this, I was like, finally, here is a whole body of work, 48 pieces that I think are cohesive, because it's not just to me about throwing art up on the walls. Like, here with what the museum is, right? What your experience is the interaction of magic with people and history and all of that, and understanding symbols. And it's not just here's some random pictures that are all by me. This is a collective working of magic. So it's such a special opportunity to have it at the Buckland Museum. So I'm honored and so excited to see it so beautifully hung. Extra points to Jillian and to Kara for putting extra magic into the assortment there. Because it's so much about thought, right? To have that effort and that consciousness. And we're doing spells and rituals, right? It's what's the thought? What's the focus and the theme that we're doing something? What's the intention behind it?
So Fast Asleep Dream says people's biggest stumbling blocks is their own disbelief in their own creative process. Everyone can make art. Breaking the ice is the biggest step.
Yes.
I find that true myself. I started painting again the other day, and it was this I go through these periods where I paint a lot, and then something happens and I stop. Actually, what happens is my attic gets either way too hot or way too cold to be up there, and then it screeches to a halt for a little while, and then I come back to it like during more moderate times. But it's there's always a lot of self-doubt there. Like, is this gonna be cool? Who looks at my art? I do, so it doesn't really matter if other people enjoy it or not. So Tarot with Joe says, "Bite that book like a Lewis chess piece." Is that like an inside joke there, or is this person just wild? I love it. Let's see. Cara says, "Go, got it. Yes, witch crafting time. We love putting the craft in witchcraft here." So another popular thing that we sell here is the Liminal Spirits Oracle. Yeah. And I love it because they put a mushroom on the cover there. This is a really beautiful deck. Here's some pictures from it right here. I have it on the 420 camera, so you can't really see too much from it. But yeah. So what's going on with you, Tony?
Not a whole lot. I'm getting ready to come back up there this weekend.
Yeah.
But
You're
I
taking them up
wanted
on
to.
Saturday for the workshop with Estrella
Yep.
Taylor and Jason Mankey, authors of Modern Witchcraft with the Greek Gods, sponsored by Cleveland Pagan Pride, which if you've never been to our Cleveland Pagan Pride Festival, I highly recommend you do because it's always a fantastic time. So, how do I get that off the screen again? But I want to say, speaking of artists and stuff, have you framed a certain piece that we're really itching to put on display?
I might have.
Excellent.
I might bring it. If it doesn't get me into trouble.
Okay. Excellent. I am so excited for that. We'll have to let's put it this way. Book your tickets for Sunday so you can see this incredible piece of art, hopefully if Tony brings it. So
Laura, when you were here last, and thank you so much for coming. You and Nathaniel had come out. What was that? October? It's October. When
September.
Was it September?
Yep.
My days are just drifting right on into one another. We're in December. No, but you two came. Thank you so much, and I had the fortunate coincidence of running into you, and I think it was the Oddities Oddity shop there in Cleveland.
Yep.
And when you were here, you taught an amazing lecture, Anatomy of the Witch lecture. And I have to say, I think I called you and told you about it, but I have a daily practice, something that I do every day. And I've been doing it for years. And my daily ritual has become a little monotonous. And it's always a ritual of gratitude. Every day it's a ritual of gratitude. But it just became more of a chore. It was getting old, and I think I may have told you, but after taking the class, I started to incorporate some of the exercises from both your book and the lecture. So, and your book helped me again. Stephen hates when I do these interviews because I get really emotional. Like when I'm saying stuff, I get emotional. But I won't. I promise.
I love it.
I won't cry. So
I love it. Please do.
But it helped me. It helped me to tap into, and because you forget about the most important tool that we have. It's us. That's our most important tool. We forget about it. And your physical self-awareness, and that was something in my ritual that I had lost. I was just doing it, just going through the motions, and I had lost that. And after taking your lecture, that helped me get that. Does that make sense? It helped me get that back. That back.
It's whatever. Yeah, because we do, when we think about daily practice is such a huge topic, right? Especially now in the online community of what does it mean? And all different sorts of baggage, the spectrum of baggage that tends to come with it, right?
Yeah.
And what it's supposed to look like. And always it has to be repetition. Well, repetition has its points, but if there's moments where we do need to reconnect, because again, like you said, we forget about our bodies. They're right there. How do you forget about your body? Well, how do you hit your head when you go to pick up that pencil that you just dropped on the ground? Because you're not really thinking about the awareness of your body and where the desk is and where the pen is, right? You're not being present there. You're just going through the motions. And it's so important to shake things up. And it doesn't have to be complicated or crazy. It might be well, today I'm going to make a smoothie instead of have tea, or it's going to be stand outside with my barefoot and
right.
For a moment, even if it's cold, whatever works for your body, that shakes up your brain, because it's the brain that is always being I'm in control all the time. And half the time, dude, you're even sleeping.
Right. And the awareness, it brings attention to the moment, the moment of just being. And I feel like that moment of being gives you a stronger connection to deity for me.
Yes.
For me. So it helps. It helped. I was really excited about that. And I want to thank you. It helped me a lot.
You're welcome.
So.
Thank you. This is the thing. So this is why I create these things, is I hope that they help and inspire other people and stimulate their practice, their lives, bring them inspiration, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah. It's and in reading the book and reading everything, it really, really felt to me like you put your whole heart and soul into this. This is really a labor of love. So I hate to sound that way, but it really did. You could see it. It comes out. It comes out in this book.
Thank you. I think every book I've done gets like a little closer to the core of me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oops,
Mm-hmm.
a little too close.
Yeah, you can see that there. So, but yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you. We had a wonderful time.
It was a great weekend, and I just wish we were like down the street so we can come hang out more often and go to that food market. Oh my God.
That was the first time I had been there either. It was Stephen, what's the place called? It's the huge station.
West Side Market.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I think Providence needs to have, like, how does Rhode Island, which is such a foodie state, not have a market like that? Or at least if we did, it's gone. Like, please.
Yeah, that's something people don't really understand about Cleveland, is it's truly a foodie city. We have all sorts of things to eat here, and that's pretty much all we do. Between eating and drinking, I don't know like what's up with Cleveland. So Laura, I had a question for you that I was kind of curious about, because when you were here, somebody had sent us a stack of like old flyers and things like that from like 1990s, early 2000s pagan things and stuff. And you were familiar with a lot of the characters. And Cara and I were talking about this earlier today when we were prepping for the interview here. And I thought, you can't hear me?
I can hear you.
What's Tony?
Tony can't hear us?
Tony, are you there?
Huh.
All right. So I'm going to kick you out, Tony, and
rejoin. Come back.
Come back. Okay. All right. So Tony, hopefully Tony knows what's up. Cara says, "What's up with Cleveland?" Witchery, of course. Yes.
True
So
fact.
I was just curious, what was Baby Witch Laura Tempest Zacrith like? If you would ever use that term, like.
I like to refer. I call that time in my life as being a witchlet, which.
Yeah.
I can hear you now.
Yay!
Couldn't hear either one of you.
Yay.
Okay, there you are. So I just asked her what Baby Witch Laura Tempest Zacrith was like all those years ago, back when she first started getting into it. Please tell us about like how you first discovered witchcraft.
So, how long do we have? So I always was a weird kid, and into Egypt and Babylon and prehistoric culture, and all about ancient gods from all over, and myth and folklore and such. And I come from a mixed family of different religions and backgrounds as well. So sort of like, how does this all work? And around 14 or so, one of my brother's girlfriends gave me a copy of The Mists of Avalon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And I had been reading Jane Eyre. Like, I started reading Jane Eyre like around 12. Which, not really age appropriate, but I'm a weird little kid. Like, you'll probably like this. And I did until the end, which made me really, really angry of like, here's this ancient religion, and then Christianity comes in, and it's so misogynistic and all this bullshit, and very, beating up to my being very angry teenager stage. And and still didn't kind of grasp from obviously a fictional book like that. Are there witches and pagans now? Really, that's an actual thing of people practicing. And so I went off and search and find that, and spending a lot of time at Walden Books and Barnes and Noble and Borders back in the day, and Books a Million and such. And most of the books on those shelves in the 90s to me looked almost as fantastical as Mist of Avalon from the cover. Like, to me, this looks like fiction, not what I'm really looking for here, until I found Margot Adler's Drawing Down the Moon. And the particular copy that I found had a photo on there. And I'm like, an NPR reporter? Research? Again, I'm a nerd, really, really nerdy about this stuff. Yeah. And from that, really realized that there were so many different paths, right? It wasn't just like, here are the Wiccans, because she explores so many different groups that are here in the United States. And from that, found Doreen Valiente and read all of Doreen Valiente's books. When I moved up to Rhode Island to go to college, there were some local groups here that I sort of checked out, but then in the end formed my own group, because that's how I work. Just very, very precocious, read all the books, let's do something. And so I ended up forming this pagan society that became from a small thing into a very large multi-college, actually non-specific path, all anybody's welcome type of group. And suddenly I'm leading rituals and organizing events and doing such, and writing for magazines, which is like, it's not that much of a different track when people say today, oh, these kids on TikTok. I'm like, well, if you're really excited about something, you go into it the complete way. And it was also deep into my witchcraft, or my art, my witchcraft coming together, because I'm exploring deity. What is the horn god, and what is this divine feminine aspect? Because again, it was the 90s. And what does it mean to make art that's also a spell? So those are the witchlit years of me, is sorting all of this out, making a lot of messes, but also at the same time making some awesome stuff. I still know people, 30 years later practically, who like, I was at that ritual and I still think that was one of the best rituals I've ever been to, and it was a life-changing experience. I'm like, wow, that's amazing that it's still that, when you're holding on to that thread of what do we do to create magic together without hierarchy, without dogma, without all these other things, it can be a truly amazing experience for folks too, and to be at the heart and the root of witchcraft.
Magic without dogma. Now, as a professional artist, have you ever had a day job? Was there ever a 9 to 5? Or so there was steps that you had to take, right? Because people get this idea that all of a sudden you're at the place that you are, right? But there's lots of building steps that you go between here and there. And I imagine sometimes you get very stressed out, right? And people say stuff like, well, at least you do what you love, right? And then you just look at a whole bunch of stuff that you haven't done yet. And you wonder, do I actually do what I love? Or do I not do anything? And I just sit there and try to do this. So what do you do as a working artist to like stay away from? Yeah, so I got a lot of questions. First of all,
I'll answer the job one real quick. So I actually started working at 14.
Yeah.
First in food service, which was not a good fit. Nobody wants me to serve their food. Even if it's on the boardwalk in Ocean City. And then I got into boutiques, and then college, I did work study through college at the art store. And then I got a position as a gallery assistant right out of college. And that was going to be my thing. Like, I'm going to work in a museum. I'm going to do real amazing things with art. And I moved to California. And my friend was like, yeah, there's all these amazing museums, and if you're living here, it's all close. Well, 45 minutes to an hour, like it takes an hour to get to San Francisco from where you are in the South Bay, and then still half an hour to get into San Francisco. So I ended up, when I landed out there, I was actually working as a full-time psychic, which was not my plan. Like I was doing readings on the side when I was still living here. But I was like, oh, well, while the museum thing is going to happen, I will get a job doing tarot readings.
Was it 1-800 numbers?
It was at a shop called the Psychic Eye, which at its height had a dozen different stores, I believe, through California and Nevada. So it was huge. Like the joke was it was called the Wiccan Walmart. It was very purple. And they had like 4 to 6 or 8 readers on it at any given time. Now I thought I was going to be reading in person, and like my very first one, there's like, here's the phone. And I'm like, do I know there's a special coming out on Miss Cleo soon, but I had that moment of like, do I look like Miss Cleo? Like I don't, what, I was not expecting to do phone readings. I've never done a phone reading in my life. What's good, but actually it's kind of fun once you get doing them. And somehow I ended up doing that for 3 years because I was a very popular reader. At the same time, I was also getting into dance and being a professional dancer and teaching dance. And so that was going on for a while. And then the Psychic Eye, poof, I had a dream about it. Like, dreamed that the Psychic Eye shut down in one day. And then a month later, it shut down in one day. So I wasn't terribly surprised. But I went into picture framing, which is a great way for all aspiring artists out there. I highly recommend picture framing. It's low stress for the most part, and you make art beautiful, and you get to take the scraps home. So I did that on top of being a professional dancer. And then when I moved back to the East Coast, I became a jewelry designer for a company that was an eco-friendly and woman-owned company, designing for Disney and a few different things like that. And then when I moved back up to Rhode Island, I started designing for Target and Walmart and other things through another giant conglomerate. So that was my big corporate job. That was the most corporate job I ever had. And then in 2012, I blew up my entire life, quit that job, and moved to Seattle. And I've been working as an artist and an author and a performer since then. So that's been my entire job since then.
Any tips that you can give somebody who, how do you motivate yourself every day?
I like to eat food.
What's that? Eat food?
I like to eat food. I like to have a roof over my head. Yeah, and the cats need food too. So that has been a great motivator of doing what is. My father's also was self-employed for most of my life growing up, running his own business, and went through the depression that we had in the 90s through all that. So like watching him constantly moving and changing what needed to be done in order to keep the mortgage paid and send my brothers to college, where I was at, and even moving the family to make it happen. Like that was the work ethic that was installed in me. And even when I had a real job, right? I hate that term, but that's what we're going to call it, right? W-2, I wasn't really making ends meet. And so it was still that like hustle all the time. Which doesn't leave a lot of creativity. So what I recommend for folks is think about what's most important to you and really streamline what are those key elements. What is important? I like food. I like having a roof over my head. And I also need to keep my sanity. What are my values? And for those folks who are creative, I just have, this is my crazy organizational system. I have a little notebook. Like I know there's fancy planners and shit, but every day I write down a list of what is it that needs to get done. And not everything gets done that day, but it's really satisfying to scratch things off, to get those things going, and be like, okay, what's the plan? What necessarily needs to happen today to make sure that I'm taking care of the commitments that I have, but not everything's going to get done.
Yeah. I tend to have lots of lists too. And it's funny because we have something on display in the museum that was a sword that Ray was given the pieces of, and the idea that he would put it together. And, our founder, Ray Buckland, was notoriously a hard worker. And he accomplished quite a bit in his 83 years, but he never finished the sword. So sometimes when I'm really bummed that I never finished my list, I'm like, well, Ray never finished the sword, so I guess maybe I'm okay.
Yeah.
So.
You're doing just fine. And also, the thing I've learned to tell myself, especially over the last 10 years, is nobody's going to die if they don't get their art today.
Hopefully.
Right.
I mean, it'll be a very strange world that we lived in.
Right.
If somebody did, right? So we got.
But it works.
So Tamara says, hello from down under. Hello. Looking forward to seeing you in, I think it's
July next
So.
year. Yeah.
Tarot with Joe had a Tarot. Oh gosh, have I been saying Tarot with Joe? Tarot with Jay. I'm sorry. These old eyes. Is the charm on your necklace the same charm from the hands card?
It's definitely similar. So this is the Mano Cornuta. Right, our little horns there. There's also the Manifiga and the Hamsa on the card. And I love hand charms. I have a whole variety of different ones. So there's not one specific one that was illustrated on the card, like after one that I have. Because you can always draw more. That's the thing about art. It doesn't always have to come from one specific thing. But this is one of the pieces I do tend to wear every single day.
So I'm shuffling through your deck right now, which we have the original art for on display in the museum. And I love every one of these pieces. They're all so beautiful. And thank you for sending us that giant array of prints. But I think that you might have to send more prints, honestly, since we'll only have 3 copies of the deck here. So let's talk later about maybe getting some more of those in. But
Absolutely.
So here are the charms from the deck right there.
Yeah, so the one in the picture is more inspired by the coral one. So for some of the older pieces were hand carved in red coral. And so you see often in particularly Italian, Sicilian charms too, of the horn, right? Usually the Italian horn, you see that as a red piece of coral, but it's been changed over the years, especially in the last 50 to 80 years into a gold, it's a gold or a silver charm to get to that, because coral's endangered, hard to get, or you'll see them, they're made of plastic now. So, but still cool.
So Tarot with Jay says, sorry, Ray Buckland founded your museum. Yep, that Ray. Often missed. Let's see here. Katie says, can you purchase the original work? And yes, you can. We have, we sold a bunch this weekend, which was cool. I was just like, all right, this is awesome. If you see any, Katie, feel free to reach out to me and we can figure out a way to get you some of that art. And yeah, so TC says, did you find yourself, or did you find yourself finding inspiration from known people in the craft, such as Laurie Gabbett, to look up? Or did you find yourself not just liking, but finding your own true self within the craft?
Is it really an or?
Yeah.
Both. So I'm definitely a Doreen Valiente fangirl.
Did I show you the recent donation that we have from the first 3 issues of what is it? The her newsletter, the Pentagram newsletter that came in.
You're holding out on me.
Yeah, well, you got to come see us again because it came after you showed up. But it's amazing. Another Llewellyn writer, Sheena Cat-Cole, sent us this incredible box of old zines, and I didn't even know this was coming, and I almost broke down in tears when it showed up. It's just so incredibly awesome and powerful. So yeah, next time you come by, we'll I'll show you.
I did get that phone call, and I do believe you were crying on the phone.
Was I?
Crying. Yeah,
I probably was. This is so amazing. Because I too love Doreen Valiente. So all right, so let's see. Cheech. Cheech.
Oh, Cheech.
Hello, you lovely people. Laura, the deck is truly beautiful. Really enjoying working with it.
Yay. Cheech is lovely.
Katie says, yay. And also thank you. Oh,
Sandy.
and Sandy wave, hey, and Sandy, I've got to, I was trying to find your address. Send me your address. I have something I want to send you. So I have a present for me to you, Sandy. So DM me. I was trying to find it the other day, but I'm very ADD. So I'll start a project and then that project's over. But send me your address. I have something to send you. So Tiffany Boggins from the legendary Witch Lab down in Columbus. It's great to see all three of you. Oh, Tiffany, it's great to see
I hope
you.
you're feeling better now. I mean, I know it's also been like 2 months.
Yeah, that's right. Somebody came down with something that weekend. Oh, yeah. Past the Sweet Dream says Doreen was awesome. More important than Gardner, in my humble opinion. British witch speaking. All right. I think that I don't know.
I think it's a different level of influence. I mean, Doreen really brought an eloquence. I love to call Doreen my litmus test to many of the personalities, because if she thought somebody was an asshole, usually the evidence pointed correctly to that. It's like, does this pass a Doreen Valiente test? Is this person a jerk? Are they full of themselves? Or are they a cool person? So to me, that's a deep inspiration too. Is like she really nailed people well.
Did you ever hear the story about when Ray tried to go visit her during World Cup or some kind of football finals, and he's knocking at the door and he's like, "It's Ray Buckland. I'm visiting from America. I've come to see you. I've brought flowers." And her response is, "I don't care if it's the horned one himself. You can't come in. I'm watching soccer, football."
I'm watching my football.
Yeah. Legendary.
She slammed her door in his face. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't know she was really, really a fan, and everyone knew not to disturb her when this was going on. He didn't know. Unfortunately, the British find this very amusing because, when they tell me this story, they find it very funny, but he carried that with him for a long time. He was really hurt over it. He thought he did something wrong, but he didn't realize he didn't do anything. It was just that day. It was just that day.
Unfortunate choice of days.
Yeah.
I would love to be so passionate about something where even if the horned one himself showed up, I wouldn't answer the door because I'd be doing it. I'm like, get out of here. So let's see. Tiffany, let's see. She's feeling much better. Hated missing your class. But we still have the sigil you created up in the shop.
Yay!
All right. So we got a shout out from Wolfchild himself, Dwayne. Hey guys. And let's see, Sandy says, Laura, just want to say your sigil work truly became a staple in my life. I just learned Reiki this weekend and want to use sigil work with that as well.
Mm-hmm. It's a great way of doing it, because you can, sigils aren't just about these drawn symbols that are on pen and paper. You can dance them, you can move them, you can breathe them. That's part of the sigils that are included with Anatomy of Witch are about really feeling these different parts of ourselves. So it's great to combine those things and thinking about dance without, again, being hung up on it's dance. Like, no, it's moving your body. It's breath. It's the flowing of our blood and the strength of our bones, all of that coming together.
Fantastic right here. So what's Nathaniel up to tonight? Keep plugging away at his guitar?
Right. Yeah. Right now he's broadcasting from the basement.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm glad we have paid extra for the good internet.
Oh, wow. Well,
so I can.
Hi.
Yeah, he's every Tuesday night he does his Nathaniel Johnstone live stream on YouTube where he sings songs for half an hour.
So make sure that we say, or you give him our best.
I will.
So anything for 2023?
Yes, actually, that's what I wanted to ask. So recently on YouTube, I was able to catch it was a Llewellyn Zoom with Evo,
Mhm.
and it's a
That's
new
right.
book. A new
Yes.
book. I was able to watch that, and then all of a sudden it cut off. Like just cut. I heard Evo say, I can't read it. We're almost out of time, and then it just cut off. And I thought there was something wrong, but
Sun-sized sign series, co-author of the Gemini volume with Evo Dominguez Jr.
I'm
Amazing.
big Evo fangirl as well.
Is there anybody out there that's not a fan?
Like, if you're not a fan of Evo, you have not met Evo. That's
Yeah.
right.
and if you
More
don't like
experience.
Evo, I probably won't like you
Yeah, right.
because he's fantastic. That is technically, I guess, book number 11. That's the project that I worked on at the beginning of this year. So they're doing all the sun signs, the first three. You have Aries and Taurus, and me writing Gemini. Thorn Mooney is the Taurus, and Diotoma is the Aries. And there's a whole other host of folks that I don't think I get to announce yet because they're not. But there's really awesome folks who've, that's their sun signs, and they've brought input to each of these books. And even though I'm not someone who my practice isn't rooted in astrology like many other people who are always like the charts and the things and the hours and such, I'm more like, all right, when I do a reading for somebody, knowing what their sun sign is often gives me an insight into their personality. Like Aries want to get things done right away, or Taurus is like, and then I'm going to move, right? Like knowing air, earth, water, fire helps a lot. So it was really fun to work on those, and those will be starting out, I think, in the summer. I wish they were being released in the month of, the Aries in March, April, and but printing schedules.
Because that would make a great gift idea, right?
Right? It's
People
just,
come in all the time, they're looking for birthday presents. I'm like, it's always nice when it's Scorpio season. I could be like, well, check it out what we got right. So
yeah, well, as we know, publishing, all right, when you're a major publisher, everything takes longer. The process is much longer. And so it's whatever catalog it lands in and that kind of thing. But the time it takes for editing and getting it printed and proofed and all that sort of stuff versus a small press that might be able to pop it out, the next day. Maybe not so well edited, but they could.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Couple more extra typos usually.
Yeah, and you can always fix, right? Hopefully you catch them later. And every book has typos, and people are like, "Oh, I found the one typo." I'm like, it happens, right? Because we're correcting things. I've seen things happen. Like actually, the first edition of Sigil Witchery, the Hebrew is backwards.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah, it's a printing thing. Like, so it's correct on what I put in my first draft and my second draft. It was correct in the proofing, but something happened in the printing process where it got reversed. And it happened to be one of my students who's like, so the Hebrew's backwards. And I'm like, what? No, it's not. And it's fixed. But if you have a first edition, you can read your Hebrew backwards in a mirror instead to get the correct word.
Yeah. Yeah. So anything else happening in 2023? You're going to go on tour? You're going to come back to Cleveland?
I hope to be touring a lot more. We'll see what 2023 brings. I've got some events booked already for next year, such as PaganaCon. I'm not sure if I can. Between the Worlds and Sacred Space is finally happening. I feel like the events, right, that have been put off for 2 to 3 years are finally happening, and so that's some exciting things. But I do hope to get back to your area again. Love visiting. So many great folks through there, and doing just some mini tours. We just kept things really safe this year to like under 2 weeks, just in case something happened. Because we had friends who were touring who were really, really careful, and still like halfway through the tour, the whole band gets COVID, and then you're stuck like somewhere in the middle of Utah.
Yeah.
Sick as a dog.
Yeah. It's not good for anyone. And
I missed the pre-order of the Yule flag. And I'm really, really bummed about it. There was I think it was the Winter Queen.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw you had posted something and I thought, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get to it. And then I'm going to do it tonight. And then the next morning I woke up and I'm like, shit.
Well, tomorrow at 1:00 Eastern, I have 2 large flags and I think 3 or 4 small ones. The garden ones.
Do? Okay, so I went on your website today and it's alchemy.square.site. Stephen, alchemy.
Alchemy, yeah, alchemy. Yep.
Oh, do you have I don't know, can you post that up there? It's out.
I don't know if it will let me do this in the chat.
I can do this. Yeah.
It's not going to show in that chat. I'll put it in this chat.
Okay.
If you're on YouTube, it doesn't let you enter. So
there it is. Okay.
Yeah. So at 1:00 tomorrow is the release. I have ornaments. I have all the flags. I have the new cryptid cards. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Nothing is showing right now. At least if they're sold out. Showing. It says sold out.
It does.
But at 1:00 tomorrow.
Because I thought you had some more coming on, and I missed that one too. But yeah, everything is selling out very quickly. The designs are beautiful. They're beautiful. You. They're gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, next year we'll be doing the inspiration is funny. I was hoping to come up with a new design like September, October.
Oh.
There's the holiday house, Baba Yaga's hut. All dressed up for the holidays. Adorable. With little Gracie. That's our little cat.
Aww.
One of our cats inside. Because she's the only one who wouldn't be freaked out by being in a house. So this one, I'll have prints up of this tomorrow as well. But next year, I think that will be the new flag. As well as the other designs. Because people always miss out on I missed the yoga. I missed the Mary Lwyd. I missed the Winter Queen. So there will be more. And for some reason you still miss out, send me a message. I could probably find a solution, not in time for the holidays, but for the spring.
Okay. Yeah, all of them are beautiful. They're all beautiful. And you said, and along with the flags, you have the tarot bags, the stickers. Do I remember the hand stickers? I remember looking at hands. There was something. I don't know if it was something.
There was the Justice Mano Cornuta, which was the symbol that we did for, God, was it 2020, 2021? It was the no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace design. I did have those as stickers. I think I'm out of those right now. I need to get more done. I have it in a note card.
They're altar cloths. Altar cloths are beautiful. The clothing, the candle wraps. Calendars, you have everything on there, but you said you were just like a jewelry designer. I'm wondering, are you going to come out with any sigil jewelry at all?
That is a great question. So I have done bronze talismans in the past. Those were on a different part of my website. And I still have a few of those, and I really should dig them out from the archive and put them up. Now that I'm back here in Rhode Island, I will probably start connecting again to my mold maker and the platers and such. Obviously, COVID has taken an impact on being able to meet with people and such, and now it's opening back up. But just like, what is it that I can focus on, right? There's so many different ideas, and having jewelry with the power sigil on it has been one thing. I was talking with Nikki Muller about doing something where it's printed on there. And it's like, okay, it's a great idea. I'll get to that. And I'll get to that.
Interesting.
But soon, hopefully it's on the list. There's a list here. The list you can't see on the other side of the computer of all the things I should do.
That list. So Laura, somebody wanted to make sure that I said hi. They said hi, so check it out. Your little beauty.
Ah, hello.
Cat, little Richard here, that had such a good time when you were here a couple months ago. Little Richard is a cool scoundrel. He is he went from being a Popeye cat to being a Cyclops, and he just wanted me to make sure that
He's so
you knew.
I love that photo that I got of like him through your front door.
Yeah.
Like, come with us on the journey.
Yeah.
I won't steal your cats as much as I want
I'm
to.
just here bugging Bert and Robat instead. So
Kittens are the best.
So I don't know. I think we've answered all the questions that we came up with here. Let's see. Baby Witch Laura, Embody Your Craft, which you also do through dance. Oh, one last question. Oh, and also I want to thank everybody that came to the Yule Market on Sunday. It was a rager success.
Awesome.
And thanks for everybody that came for this, because we're looking to probably do it much bigger and better and more extreme, 90s style, extreme next year. So already starting to come up with plots and schemes for that. But anyway, on the back of a Yule Market flyer, Anatomy of a Witch, Kara wrote this, is about embodying your craft, which you also do through dance, ! How did you begin combining dance and magic?
Great question. So also back at the time of Baby Witchlet, there's too many words, Witchlet Me. So our group that we were creating at the time, I was in college. So we're doing ritual, we're figuring things out. And I had another friend who had moved back to California and was telling me about the belly dance troupe that she had seen. I'm like, well, that sounds really cool. And I found local classes here, and our whole bunch of us signed up for that. And we were instantly inspired, though the teacher was really terrible. But I'm like, I'm going to learn this dance however I can. And stuck through it and found another teacher, and really just taking movements, connecting things to music, not necessarily just Arabic music, but all the different things that were happening in the 90s there, which was a lot of goth and Arabic influenced music, bringing that into our ritual and finding the movements really amplified what we were doing in ritual. So it was just, kind of a chocolate and peanut butter kind of moment of, this seems cool, let's try it out and see. And it worked. But dance is an ancient tool of ritual that we've been using again for thousands upon thousands of years. So it's not really surprising. It's rediscovering the wheel. But it's always exciting, right? When you rediscover the wheel for yourself, you're like, look at this thing, it rolls. It's great. I gotta show other people that it rolls. Roll together.
That's cool. So let's see. Tiffany says, love the Baba Holiday Hut. I do too. That's awesome. M.A. the Gray says, smiling with stars or hearts, one or the other. They look very happy. Let's pull this up. Stars. Starstruck by you, Laura. Tempest Zachary. So, Tony, you got anything in there in your cauldron? Stir up here. All right. I think you're done.
No, I thought I saw something.
Yeah, how's that bat?
Has it been bat free?
It has been bat free. So
no Flittermaus. That's the only word I know in German. Flittermaus. Which is cute, right? Because it's a flittering mouse.
It's a flying mouse.
You'll feel much better about it if you call it a flittermouse versus a bat.
Right.
Oh, look at the flittermouse.
Maybe they're coming to turn you, Tony.
I don't know. Yeah, I woke up. Oh, this was last week. I woke up like there was something on the bed, and it was the cats. The cats were jumping, and I couldn't figure out. It was dark. and I realized they're jumping, trying to get at the bat that keeps jumping up.
One time when I was a kid in Sweden, we there was this old farmhouse that my family had, and we would go out there. It was where my grandmother's family had grown up, and we're all sleeping in the same room, generations and generations of people. Got cousins there, my parents are there, and something keeps flying past my face, and I keep saying, "Something flying past my face." And it's like, "Shut up, Steven. There's nothing." Keeps flying past my face. And I'm starting to freak out, right? You're like the only person that knows there's something really going on here. I'm like, there's something in here that's not any of us. It's not family. I don't know what it is. And it keeps flying past. And eventually I turned on a light, and there it was. And fond memory of my grandmother, famous snorer. And she's just sawing logs the whole time. The whole time this is going on. Oh, here's a shout out from the legend himself, Brian Jones, from a local tourist destination. Brian says, "Steven, are you a pagan?" Years ago, I started working for his place, and it's a place that celebrates the winter solstice with a totemic symbol of it that's shaped like a leg.
Yes.
And Brian's been on the news lately. And but they closed for Halloween. The house itself doesn't close, but the offices do. And I was like, "Are you guys pagans?" Because I'm looking at it from my own perspective. And no, just it was like the last day before the holiday season, before everything could get all exciting and stuff. So, Brian, good to see you. Are you still in town? You should pop by and see the museum sometime while you're here. All right. I think with that, we should probably wrap up this latest edition of Buckland Museum Frankenstein Radio Controls. Thanks for everybody that tuned in. Laura, thanks for bringing a big crowd of your friends and fans. That was awesome. Your exhibit, Anatomy of a Witch, still up until January 15th. I am so thrilled to exhibit your work. So thrilled. Such an honor to share your work with people. I know Tony feels the same way. And any final comments here, Laura? Anything you want to say to your people?
Well, first, thank you, Steven and Tony, for making the exhibition possible and being so incredibly supportive and wonderful folks, and for all the work that you do. It's amazing and much needed in the community. And to everybody else out there, keep doing your magic. Do the thing. Oh, to Cara too. Sorry, Cara. Like, there's so many people on the screen. I'm having a bit of a squirrel moment today, as I said earlier with my newsletter. So big hugs to everybody, and thank you for everybody being here. And I hope everyone has a wonderful winter solstice and a fantastic new year, and stay healthy.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, stick around for just a second here, and I shall say goodbye to everyone. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Really an honor to host Laura here. I think everybody can understand why. And I think we'll probably do one more live stream before the solstice time. Don't forget, we do have a wonderful event on Saturday. It's a workshop with Estrella and Jason. Very fun, congenial people that you probably want to spend some time and hang out with. So, and we're not just doing it, it's a hybrid. So you could tune in here, or you could also catch a live stream. I just got a new webcam for it, so I'm excited. But anyway, I hope everyone, stays awesome, and, just do me a solid and stay witchy, my friends.